deciding the American people are flawed? What the fuck is going on here? Who's going to purchase this company? And why would we trust these corrupt social media empires in our own country? For those that don't know my position on this TikTok ban, I'm going to let you know. I think it's a bad idea.
I believe that this bill can cause future problems. It's opening Pandora's box, and I'm opposed to this bill.
I think they have done it as propaganda to put fear that China is going to know our information. Newsflash, they already have it. Let's talk about this whole entire conspiracy around them using our information to follow us.
There are dangers that lie ahead in this. This is really about controlling Americans' data. And if we cared about Americans' data, then we would stop the sale of Americans' data universally.
I've had more problems on American-based social media platforms than I have ever had on any foreign-based platform. And why are you picking only on TikTok? And why is it the Chinese that you're picking on? And if you are really picking on the Chinese Communist Party, why aren't you stopping them from purchasing our farmland, the food that we eat?
Most Americans don't trust the United States government because of our experience dealing with it. If we wanted to be serious about stopping a foreign adversary, if we wanted to be serious about stopping China, we would stop China from buying our U.S. farmland.
Interesting. And also, asking for a few million friends, about 170 million friends. Why aren't you doing anything about our American-based companies first?
I rise today as the only member of Congress that has ever been banned by social media. Twitter banned me, banned my personal account on which I was campaigning for Congress, raising money, and using my free speech to inform the voters in my district they can vote for me. This was not by a company owned by China. This was by American-owned Twitter.
Again, not sure what they're thinking. You know what I really truly believe it is? I believe it is the censorship of the United States that they are trying to lock down. Because whenever we have the United States owned companies, we are more censored in our freedoms of speech than we are from these foreign companies.
This came on the heels of our own United States government working with big tech and working with social media companies to censor and ban Americans' free speech.
Are we going to make Elon Musk sell Twitter when he restored many of our accounts that were censored by our American-based company?
By the way, it was Elon Musk's purchase of X that restored my social media account on Twitter.
So who's going to be purchasing this TikTok, this American-based TikTok, which is a bad idea, a double-edged sword, slippery slope? How many other companies are we going to force to sell? I wonder. And if they're so concerned about our data, why aren't they preventing it from being sold universally? And again, asking for a few million friends. Somebody needs to do something, but it ain't banning TikTok. You know what it is? It's firing those damn politicians. If anybody doesn't know where I stand, I say no to the ban. And if the government is concerned about the Chinese Communist Party, getting information about them, maybe stay off TikTok, government. Just a thought.
Summer Wells went missing June 15th, 2021 and hasn't been seen again. We are in the backwoods of Tennessee. We are here on Light Hollow Road. We're a little further down the road than we once were. We're just checking out this area. This is one area that we never really researched or really searched during the last 2.5 years that we've been covering the case. We followed this case from the very beginning to find out any information related to Summer Wells, where she may be, and who may be responsible for her disappearance. It has taken us on a almost 3-year journey here in Tennessee, Hawkins County, Tennessee, as we search for answers. This is where we heard Candace Bly was the day that Summer Wells disappeared. Where is Summer Wells? We are searching for any information leading to the whereabouts of Summer Wells. If you have any information, please call 1-800-TBI-FIND.
From the East Coast to the West Coast, we are everywhere true crime is. We are asking for the public's help. We are searching in the woods. We are doing what it takes here on the Bullhorn Betty channels to find answers to the most alarming cases we have been watching on the news. I can tell you personally that I have traveled this entire country seeking these answers and bringing that content right here to you here on the Bullhorn Betty channels and Bullhorn Betty crime stories. We are happy with the work that we've done. We brought many answers to the public, and we have defied mainstream media in our pursuit of the truth in these cases. We will continue to work. We will continue to fight for these victims, and we will continue to tell their stories here on my channels. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty brand of channels and the Coffee Club. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your support. And more importantly, thank you for allowing me to bring these victims' stories to each and every one of you, advocating for each of these victims. God bless you. God bless America. And more importantly, God bless our victims. Well, good morning, my beautiful coffee beans here on YouTube and X. It's nice to see everyone. I'm sorry we're coming a little late. My coffee just wasn't making this morning. It took forever. I'm sitting here. I'm arguing with the coffee pot. I'm like, are you going to give me my coffee? I mean, in this century, I'm just curious, asking for me. It was fighting me this morning. I don't know what it was. We were having a tug of war. I guess I didn't realize how long it took to percolate a pot of coffee. I forgot because I've been on these K-cups. Lord, these K-cups are convenient. I'll be honest with you. I went through 2 K-cups waiting for the coffee pot. Good morning, Jen. It's nice to see you here this beautiful morning. Dee, it's nice to see you. Our beautiful Jules. She needs some prayers today, guys. So you know what? When we have family that's in need of prayers, we give them prayers. So Jules needs some prayers and some love and support from the fam. So give her some love and support. It's nice to see you, Mama Llama, up in the house. MJ, it's great to see you this morning. Kathy, Gigi for life. Jules, I already said hi to you. You don't matter. Let me move on. I'm just joking. I did say a prayer for you, by the way, but I know you need a laugh. So it's nice to see you as well. Who else do we have up in the house? We were having some conversations this morning. It's me, Jen, our beautiful It's Me, Jen. Oh, look at that. Well, thank you, my love. Thank you. Oh, that reminds me. I got to take the backdrop off because you're not going to be able to see this. I'm in office 2. Don't be hating. Don't be hating. Take this off. Kind of blurred background. There we go. Maybe that'll work. You guys see me? See me? Okay. You guys can see me, right? Okay. Dum. Oh, hold on. I got, it's not going to sound as good as going through the thing, but here. Boom, shakalaka. Oh, it doesn't do it. Hold on. It's got my face. All right. Let me take that off too. Jeez Louise. Got to fight with my virtual background and everything. There we go. Look. Boom, boom, boom. The camera is in. It is a beauty. It's heavy. It's beauty and it's heavy. And look at this, which is another great feature. Look at that. The thing just turns around. This is going to be amazing. I can't wait to get it out and do some shots with it. I can't wait to figure out what all I can do with it. But the video quality is supposed to be amazing. I did a lot of research on this camera, and just I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm super, super stoked. And I just wanted to let you know, I got to tell you, I got so busy yesterday. I forgot the camera was coming in. I woke up this morning. Sonia's probably going to be pissed. But I got cameras all over the house, so what does it matter, right? But I forgot. I literally forgot that the camera was coming in yesterday. And I was working and I had my phone on Do Not Disturb literally all day yesterday. I've got like copious notes here from the work I was doing. You know, I watched the behavior panel. I don't know what's going on. Me and my mom were talking yesterday. I'm like, Mom, I don't know what's going on. I said, I'm not agreeing with the behavior panel at all. I'm not agreeing with them at all. Last two cases, I mean, well, I in part I agreed with them with their assessment of Madeline's mom, Jen. Because we knew she wasn't being truthful. I just disagreed on the reasons for her being truthful or being untruthful. But they're like thinking the parents are like everything that they're saying that they believe the parents, then their statement is exactly the reason why I don't believe the parents or their statement. I'm like, what? And we'll get into that conversation in just a little bit. So it's nice to see you all here this morning. Let me see who else I got. I know we're still up in the early mornings when I first ran this, that we were live. Gigi, good morning. Sweet Misery is up. PB and J is here. I see Manic, or I shouldn't say I see Manic. I think I must have glossed over her because I see Sweet Misery saying hi to her. So let me go up. There she is. I see a Manic Mama T. And Jules, I did watch that. I don't know how I feel about those videos. I listened to them, but I don't know how I feel about them. Because they're not based on, it's still a feeling or a thought or, and what if her vibe is off, right? What if, or she's picking up somebody else? There's a lot. I don't know. We'll see. Pete, it's nice to see you in here this morning. The real me too. Good morning, my love. Who else do we have? Crafty Chris is up in the house. I'm finally getting down to some more recent morning. We had this going for like an hour or so, maybe 2 hours before Audrey, I see you up in the house. Devil Doll, it's nice to see you. Sonia, I think I glossed over you, but I just caught you. Unicorn, it's nice to see you, my love. I went to bed early last night, and not only that, but I forgot to turn my phone off of Do Not Disturb, so I had literally no clue. Lori Lowe, good morning, my love. Do we have is this a second one? Oh my gosh, Jen. I just realized Jen just donated 5 Bullhorn Betty memberships. So if you received a Bullhorn Betty membership from Jen, it's me, Jen. Tell her thank you. God bless you, Jen. Thank you. Juicy, you're up in the house. It's nice to see you. Bye, you babe. Good morning. Who else do I have? Betty fan. It's nice to see you. Who else do I have? I feel like I missed some people because I kind of, my screen went a little berserk on me. West Virginia Holler Girl, it's nice to see you, love. Who else do we have? I think I'm just about, if I missed you, I see Lisa, it's nice to see you. If I missed you this morning, I'm sorry about that. Forgive me, Just Deb, Sweetie Pie, I see you in here. It's nice to see you all here this morning. So what we're going to be doing is I've got a few things kind of to go over, and I think it kind of goes into some people's conspiracy theories around the Madeline Soto case. And for now, they are completely unrelated. So somebody said that there was something related to the Knights Inn that was associated with Maddie Soto. And there were a few creators that dovetailed this Santa guy out in St. Cloud and his son and what they were doing in with the Soto case as well. And I just want to, 3 Flying Doves. It's nice to see you. Allie, good morning. Speculation Station. Good morning, love. And I just wanted to clarify, those are really wild conspiracy theories. This idea that you can't have, crimes going on in the same county or community, we can just look at Hawkins County at all the unrelated stuff that goes on in that community there, and they're not related to one another. So, I just wanted to clarify that, because I feel like a lot of people, they, a breaking case, and they just automatically assume every every other case is attached to it somehow, if it's of similar nature or something like that. But so far, it doesn't sound like that. These are two totally separate incidences that were going on. And not only that, this whole thing in St. Cloud was an investigation that was going on for a significant amount of time before those arrests were made. Okay, so I'm looking into this, and so far there are no connections with the father and the son and Maddie and Stefan and Jen. These are two totally separate incidences, and I just wanted to make sure that people here on this channel knew that. So I did want to just kind of bring in some information, some new information. I think this is the one about the Knights Inn. This one might be about the Knights Inn, I believe.
It's been 1 week since we showed you a large crime scene at the Knights Inn in Kissimmee. We watched detectives for hours with no explanation of what happened.
Since then, West 2's Megan Mulatto has been trying to find out. And today we're finding.
I want to make sure that there's sound work. We've been having some major audio issues with StreamYard. I don't know what it is. Can you guys hear that? I just want to make sure that we're hearing well today. Sound is good. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Let me just go back. Might as well. We'll start it over now that I know that sounds good.
West 2 News continues.
It's been 1 week since we showed you a large crime scene at the Knights Inn in Kissimmee. We watched detectives for hours with no explanation of what happened.
Since then, West 2's Megan Mulatto has been trying to find out. And today we're finally getting some answers.
We've been working on getting details from the Osceola County Sheriff's Office on what exactly happened at the Knights Inn in Kissimmee last Thursday. We know deputies responded in the morning. They were joined by forensics units and spent at least 6 hours taking photos and gathering evidence. Crime scene tape blocked off a big part of the parking lot for most of the day. Residents told us off camera they heard gunfire. Video from Chopper 2 shows puddles of blood in the parking lot. Dozens of evidence markers were placed on the ground as they investigated. The door to one of the units was open as detectives worked inside the building and out. We repeatedly reached out to the Osceola County Sheriff and his team for details on what happened, who was involved, and if anyone had been arrested in this case. They responded to us Thursday, confirming the incident was a shooting. They say 2 victims, a man and a woman, were shot, but tell us neither are cooperating, willing to talk, or wanting to press charges.
All right, so that was related to the Knights Inn situation, completely unrelated. It was going on right in the middle of the investigation into Maddie, and a lot of people jumped right on and thought it was associated with it, and it was not. It was a completely separated incident. And so, also with that being said, why is this looking that way? Did I hit the wrong thing? Oh, I know what this is. This is from, sorry. And the other thing was the Florida dad known as Santa, son accused of SA of neighborhood kids and creating CP. And, you know, this one here, there's one minor detail that I feel like a lot of people missed when they were looking at this case. And one was they were, the son had, unalived himself, but on the heels of them serving the search warrant. So that tells you that this was an investigation that was going on prior to that search warrant being executed. And so in order for that to happen, that means the investigation, most likely because of this being done over the internet, was ongoing for a significant amount of time before they got this warrant to go in. And it sounds like, in my opinion, that both father and son had previously been put on notice either from searches or they had already been questioned by law enforcement. But they had already been put on notice that they were coming back with a warrant, because it was implied that they were coming back with the warrant and the son off themselves as a result of that. So I think might be related. But Devil Doll, I mean, you guys are more than welcome to. The more information will come out related to both Maddie's case and this St. Cloud case. But from everything I'm seeing and hearing, they're unrelated to each other. But again, we'll find out here soon enough. We all know that, Maddie went through quite an ordeal. I think it was shocking. I don't think we were prepared for the information we received. Before I get into that, we're just going to have the intro video in, and we're going to talk about her, and then we're going to get on. We've got a few other topics to talk about on, related to updating cases. So we'll get through those, and then we're going to dive into Summer Wells and talk about her case a little bit as well.
The charges are absolutely disgusting. We are starting to see a disgusting picture unfold before our very eyes. Stefan Stern's charges have been upgraded to 60 additional charges. That's correct. Many of us are reeling, just wondering what this poor girl went through in her short life on this earth. I'm not going to go through the charges that he has been charged with. They are deplorable. They are disgusting. And some of them happened before she was 12 years old. Stefan Stearns was a predator. Monsters like this do not deserve to breathe the same air as we do. And what he did to this young girl, we will never forgive him for. May she rest in peace.
So, when we first heard about this, we were first hearing about this, getting wind of, at least for me, getting wind of this the evening of the 26th, because I'm right here in Florida. So obviously the local news picked up on this case very quickly, and it was plastered just pretty much everywhere, because the Tampa Bay, Orlando area, this area, they're all, they're in, Orlando, Kissimmee area is about 2.5 hours away from where I sit right now. But still, either way, it's close enough that it hits our news segments. Long story short, we learned about this, and of course, we were hearing some preliminary information that she may have run away, and then of course, hearing her mother soon after feeling that she was taken. There was some uneasiness with this. We noticed that some of the behaviors were inaccurate. We learned very early on that the statements the mother made were not boding with what she was telling the public. And then we started analyzing what was going on here. And we learned within 2 days, by the 28th of February, that Stefan Stearns had some graphic material, of minors on his phone. And that was really all we knew. We all assumed that it had to do with Maddie, but we didn't really know. We knew it was just an assumption that we were making. We learned early on that he accidentally reset his cell phone. So, there was a lot of red flags for the people in the true crime community that kind of focused right in on this perceived step-parent, mom's boyfriend, partner, whatever we want to use to call him. And so that's kind of where we were in the case. And then, there was some information coming out and it was still unclear about him potentially changing a flat tire. We started hearing that. And then it was addressed that he may have been in this particular area with a flat tire. And then right on the heels of them telling us that they know they have video evidence that they saw her in his car deceased. And that was jaw-dropping for us. That was very difficult to listen to. And then almost right after that press conference, I believe is when they found her. I think all of our minds, because Stefan Stearns was already in jail for these graphic images, I think we all kind of knew he was responsible for her death. Whether we said it or not, I think in the back of our minds, I think everybody across the board just believed that. Or if they didn't believe that, they believed that he would be accused of that. But when the paperwork came out, the 32 or 34 pages of the affidavit of his charges, the charging sheet, so to speak, that was when I think reality set in for many of us to the true gravity of what this young girl went through. And then to go back and have to look at some of those photos that you looked at or used for thumbnails and everything. And you kind of like, even out the gate, whenever I said, when we saw that last photo of her, I think one of my assessments was, she's smiling. She looks beautiful. She's a beautiful little girl. And, but her eyes were so sad. You could see sadness in her eyes. And I said that before I really knew what was going on. And maybe it was said after he was arrested, because I think maybe at that point I had already known that, obviously something involved Maddie, or at least we assumed it involved Maddie, and, with her missing. But on March 1st, obviously our worst fears were realized, but we thought our worst fears were realized until we got that document, that 30-some page document, and the details of that. And let's be honest, they were very vague in their detailing of what happened, but detailed. I don't know how. It was just enough information that you got a good idea of what happened to that little girl. And so I don't know what's going to happen to Mom. I feel like he prayed. You guys know where my position is on this. I know where your position is on this. No point in kind of rehashing all of those. Some of us are on one vein and some of us on the other, and that's okay, because we really don't know how much information was known by the mom. But we will find out. Now, why hasn't there been any arrests in this case? I think it's pretty much one of the more important questions that I think runs through all of our minds. Vague but horrific by you, babe. That's exactly it. So sad for Maddie. Never knew any better. Yeah, and not only that, a lot of people wonder why it's possible that she did keep her mouth shut. There's a few possibilities as to why, if she did, there's a few possibilities. And one of those is obviously intimidation is a big key to that, is the intimidation factor, him always being around her, him always carrying a firearm, something like that. But there's also another one that is a little more twisted and sick, and it's the possibility that she didn't know any better. This abuse started happening when she was so young. She was just taught that was normal for the family and didn't think anything different. Because whatever relationship she had with Stefan, that it might have been how he controlled her by making her feel it was normal. Then there's no need to tell Mom. There's just some things. A lot of people believe she did tell her mom. She did tell other people, or at least implied it. And then other people are even like, well, even if she didn't imply it, her mom should have had a gut instinct. So everybody's kind of, but Mom, I think the majority of people feel in some way or form, or, in some respect, that Mom should have known something. Even my own mother, even my own mom thinks that this lady is guilty as hell. So, I get the, everybody's point. So there's no point. Some are, at this point, the people that believe she's a monster are going to continue to believe she's a monster until she's proven not to be a monster. And those that believe she's not a monster are going to be, feel that she's not a monster until she's proven to be a monster. So I think that's just where we need to go with this case, and no need to, so Jen's like 50-50. And I think a lot of people are, because I think in the back of the mind, we all know that there are other possibilities that could explain all this, because there just are. We even heard from a person yesterday that called into the show that expressed her story. And one of the things she said is that her mom never knew. So there are these possibilities, and we do need to look at them. And with everybody out there, with pitchforks and wanting to come after mom, I just wanted to be another perspective with this case. I honestly don't know. In my heart of hearts, I feel like mom knew something. Do I think she knew to this degree? I don't think any of us expected this. At least I didn't. So no, I don't think she knew to this degree. I think she knew that maybe there was some, well, you guys know. You guys know my opinion. But it's here, why is nobody arrested? I think there might be two parts, and this is kind of what is getting me a little concerned, that Jen may very well be arrested. There are some rumors and some undertones in several different chat rooms that, we did see Jen's car at her sister's house. We saw it. We posted it here. We showed, because it had the evidence tape and markers on the car at the lower door panel. And so this idea that they wouldn't, I just want to also say, like everybody seems like this is all shocking. There's a criminal investigation going on. If you think they're only going to search one car that's at that house and not the other car, you see what I'm saying? Like, of course her car is being forensically searched. She's got a murdered child. Does it mean that there was anything in that car that had any evidentiary value? No, but they have to check, and they still have to put their markers on, because if something is here, it could be a splash of mud. They don't know until they swab it and send it to the lab. There are some things that may mimic, like maybe a blood splatter, and then find out it's not. It's something that they passed and splattered on their car as they were driving. So they have to take those. So like a lot of people, I want to calm it down a little bit, because people get really excited about this stuff and trying to point the finger and stuff like this. But this is normal and customary to crime scene investigation. It's not like the idea that her car wouldn't be searched or wouldn't have markers on it, to me seems like I would feel like they didn't do what they were supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? So, Izzy, it's nice to see you, love. Why, God bless you. Thank you. I would say you're the newest member of the coffee club, but we know that's not true. We know that's not true. Oh, good morning, Frankie. It's nice to see you, love. What do you say? I think his defense against the M will be that her mom was jealous of her and or helping him. So she did it, and he helped by, yeah. Oh, there's definitely going to be a plan B. But, there's been a lot of things, like even Vinnie Politan. Let's go over the notes. Did you guys watch Vinnie Politan last night on Court TV? I love him. He's great. He talked about the Soto case, and he talked about, Miss Robin, God bless you. Thank you, Love Bug. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. You guys are making my day. All these new members for the Bullhorn Betty. And we are going to do members only lives, guys. So we're going to do some stuff. We're going to really, as we start rolling out, because my members have been supporting, and some of these, you guys seen them over the last week. Some of the members have been with me 16, 20, we've been on here for a significant amount of time, and we've got some, and they just supported this channel just to support the channel. We didn't really do anything that was members only for the first 2 years. So now we're going to start getting a little creative and doing some members only, so we can all just kind of have fun together. Oh, thank you. See, what am I talking about? People that have been here for a really long time that has just supported this channel to support the good work that we do. And so over the next, now that we have a significant, a good following of members, we're at a point where we can do members only live, and we'll do those, and we'll make sure that those are special and personal, and we'll have more conversations, and obviously talk more. And if you guys want to come up, it'll all be blocked from the general pop, right? It'll all be blocked from the general pop. So if you guys want to come up or call in and just have some fun. We'll talk about true crime too, but we can, make it fun. We can make it fun to learn about some of these cases, and fun in a sense, not happy to do it, but just learning. It's stuff we can learn. It's stuff that we can feel good when the bad guy goes behind, gets behind bars and has to serve. People act like you can't celebrate that. The bad guy's behind bars. Yeah, we can. Yeah, we can. So we'll figure out what we're going to do, but I think it's really ultra fun and ultra personal for our members as well as me. So I think it'll be good. And we'll modify, as we grow the members only lives, we'll modify it to make it more, I don't know, I'm not sure. We'll figure it out. So if you guys received any of your gift memberships today, by the way, guys, please don't forget to tell the people that provided those to you. Thank you. So to Miss Robin, and who do we have? It's me, Jen, Miss Robin, Izzy Girl became the new member, and Miss Robin, of course, showing her pride for 19 months. It's lovely. Thank you, guys. So let me get back to where I was with the whole, oh, maybe it wasn't. You know what? Maybe it wasn't. Look at the bottom. They processed her vehicle for certain evidence. Oh, and then also there's another thing that's been leaking around is that Stefan's father, Chris, ended up going and visiting him in jail, and what that was all about. And then we'll get on to Elijah Vu. So hold on just a second. Let me get back to where I was before we stopped here, because I got some other things to say. So long story short, what we've learned is that Stefan Stern has these images. And the reason why we're bringing him up is there is some movement in his case. It appears that they've already set his trial. Now, do I honestly believe that this trial of this magnitude is going to go forward on May 13th? I highly doubt it. But he has a pretrial appearance on April 24th. But to have, with all the details and the complexity of this case, there is no way, in my mind, that it's going to go May 17th. So for those that think it's not, even his speedy trial, I think, is 180 days. So even at minimum, we're going to see that trial date move for him. I'm going to try to monitor his trials and hearings and stuff like that, so we can go there and run the show from outside of the courtroom or courthouse or something like that. I'm interested in getting this case. Right now, I'm down like four flat tires because my car's in the shop. So I'm hopeful that I get it back sometime next week. As soon as I get it back, we might take a road trip over to Kissimmee and just, get our feet on the ground and see what we can learn now that some time has gone by. Maybe some people are willing to open up and speak. But we'll see where we get when we get down to Kissimmee. And I anticipate that at least in the next week or so. I think we're getting. I don't want to go into Summer Wells just yet. Give me a second. Is this Summer Wells? No. Okay. So, sorry, I'm not running on two screens today. You guys are just going to have to work with me. I love you and God bless.
There is a lot of issues going on with this case that are now flooring detectives and the family. I've been monitoring the case of Sebastian Rogers. He's a boy that went missing in Tennessee. His mom has a message.
Love you so much, and we want you to come home, and you're not in trouble.
Search into the 15-year-old's disappearance has all failed. This is a boy that has autism. He's a high-functioning autistic individual, and the parents are coming under heavy fire right now because it is leading to believe that foul play is involved. But here is something that the stepfather had to say early on in the investigation.
Chris and Katie tell me they've been harassed, people pointing fingers at them.
You're not in this situation. You don't quite understand.
Many here in the public are just concerned about the well-being of Sebastian Rogers and would like to see him come home and come home safely. However, the boy has been missing for a significant amount of time, and now this particular case has led investigators to a landfill. Landfills appear to be the most promising place for parents to dump their children because this is not the first time. I was on scene at the Leilani case, and this was related to her 20-month-old son, Quentin Simon, which was found in a landfill. Leilani Simon is behind bars. Also, Elijah Vu. He has not been found yet. He's missing from Two Rivers, Wisconsin, and also the detectives and the investigators in this case have gone to the landfill and are currently doing a landfill search. Now that we know that foul play is perceived in this case, we're going to take a look at the parents' interview. Please stay tuned and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Bullhorn Betty channel here on TikTok.
So not only are we going to look at the interview of the parents, we're also, I also watched the behavior panel, and I just disagree. I don't know what to say. My mom and I were on the phone last night, I think for like a half an hour, right? And, she's like, so I was watching. I'm like, yes, I watched the behavior panel too, Mom. I said, I just started laughing. I said, I don't know what it is. The last two cases, I just disagree with them on. I disagree with their analysis. Like even on Jen Soto, I agreed with what they were saying about her behaviors, but I felt that they analyzed the reasoning as to why, like their opinion of the reasoning as to why she was acting that way, I wholly disagreed with. So they were, fearful, but they weren't taking into consideration some of the stuff. Maybe they didn't have the information at the time. That's also another thing. And then when it came to Sebastian's stepfather and mom, I totally disagreed with, again, they were picking up on some of these cues. They were talking about them, even the ones that I had brought up, but they were almost giving them a pass or an excuse. It was like, and not only that, they're like, oh, he's relaxed, but they're not applying that he has domestic violence. This man is capable of lying. He's had to lie for years as he covered up his spousal abuse. And so relaxed, I don't know, as I was going through this, I want to go through some of the notes that I have on this, but this wasn't really based upon, did I take the notes on I might've taken notes when I was listening to the behavior panel, but I know that these notes that I'm about to go over came from the segment on Court TV with Vinnie Politan. And I know he was talking to like Gray Hughes. He was talking to, because Gray Hughes had somebody that called into a show that was, gave us a little insight into the background of Stefan Stearns. Stefan Stearns sounds like he was a bad apple for a really long time. He was a peeping Tom. He has a major history of being a predator. And I'm going to keep saying predator because I want people to understand this man was not somebody that got into this relationship and then flipped a switch. He targeted, in my opinion, this mom because of her daughter. And if he targeted this mom to get to the daughter, the mom, in my opinion, is his victim as well. And so we've got to find out how much did mom know? Oh, before we get into this, because with Stefan Stearns, I wanted to say this, and I keep coming back to it, and I keep forgetting to say it. It sounds like the reason why the charges may not be happening, and then we'll get over to Sebastian, is she might be in a mental hospital. We're hearing reports because we thought she was at her sister's house, and she actually might be in a mental hospital. And what happens when you're under medical care, especially for something like this, it's hard for law enforcement to serve a warrant for her arrest or get a warrant for her. There's something weird, especially here in the state of Florida, when you're in a medical facility and the arrest. So it is possible that she can be arrested. It also is possible that they're not wanting to tip their hand by arresting Stefan Stearns before she's out of her medical, whatever she's going through, if that is where she is. We know she's had medical issues, mental health issues in the past. Do I think that it is probable that she would be at a mental hospital right now? Yeah, I do. Because I would think this is a little too much for anybody to handle, despite what we think about her. Okay. This is her daughter. She gave birth to this child. So far, we have no history of child abuse on her part or anything like that. And so I doubt that this lady, no matter how we look at it, ever wanted anything to ever happen to her child. So this is her child that she lost brutally. I hope some humanity, just infiltrates some of us, because some of us are really angry at this case, and just understand it from a human perspective that she lost her child. And that alone is enough to put anybody into the crazy house. So if she's there, I don't blame her, actually commend her, because the alternative could have looked a lot worse. So hopefully she's getting whatever care she needs to have. But that it could. Oh, Cynthia, God bless you. God bless you. Oh, I hope I didn't miss it. I'll go back and see if I've missed anybody going through. Good morning, Snow. It's nice to see you. So getting back to Sebastian, I'm going to try to quit getting sidetracked and go back to Maddie's case. But this is what I've learned, okay? This guy obviously worked in Memphis, the stepfather. He obviously worked a significant amount of time away. It sounded like he was gone throughout the week or something to that respect. And it's just a little problematic for me, because even if he was gone for weeks at a time, he would still, in my opinion, be coming home on the weekends. And we know that Sebastian disappeared between Sunday and Monday. What time did the father leave, or the stepfather leave, to go to work? Because it sounds like he was at the home that weekend. And we're going to look at the interview again and go over it. But this is what I learned, from the Vinnie Politan show on Court TV. And so as I was watching it, I was writing down a bunch of questions that weren't being answered from the interview that was provided. And one of the things that I said was, when did the stepfather go to work? And if all of these stuff is true and the stepfather wasn't in the home, that means mom was the only one alone with this child. So right now, I am, either or with this case. And another question that I had in here is, could he have disappeared before the night in question? There was a hit. We're learning that there was a hit at a construction dumpster on a construction site near their home. We also know that the stepfather works in construction. That would be a place of comfort for him. So I'm really having some mixed feelings about this case all the way around. But we definitely know that there is no way that he would just intentionally walk out on his own. He has never done it before. If he's never done it before, the chances of him actually doing it this one time are very minimal. He never left the house without shoes and socks on. If he has never done that before, he's not going to automatically this day do that, especially going out at night by himself. He would have instinctively put his socks and shoes on before leaving the home. So this is leaving a lot of problems. The other problem is we had the people that were searching for this man or this child, this 15-year-old autistic boy. The searchers were saying at this point, we would have had some type of significant hit. We've had none. As if this kid never even walked outside of that home. So if we apply these facts, I'm absolutely, utterly shocked that the behavior panel really believes that this mom and dad are believable. And the reasons why they believe them, they identified them, like her little laugh that I said that made me believe, they blew that off. As if, oh, he must be a problem being, going to bed at night. And I'm just like, I'm listening to their analysis, I'm like, I'm screaming in the computer. That's the reason I think that something's going on behind the curtain. So those are some major questions we need to find answers for. Was there, when was the last time the stepfather was physically at that home? When did the stepfather go to work? How long was mom home alone with Sebastian? When was the last time the stepfather saw the mom with the son? There's a lot of questions here. Lots of questions. But here's something that came out, and this came out yesterday afternoon, and I wanted to read this to everybody. So let me put this up on the screen real quick. Give me just 2 shakes. Block. Here. Can you guys see that? Okay, those search efforts have been scaled back. We never like hearing scaled back search efforts because that tells us what they think, right? If they are still hopeful, they're going to keep that search effort in full force. Scaled back. Tennessee authorities say they remain committed to finding Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, the 15-year-old Hendersonville boy who was reported missing almost 3 weeks ago. But leads remained sparse, and officials were vague when it came to discussing the teen's whereabouts this week as investigators continue to seek clues in a case that sparked statewide Amber Alert and triggered a search of a Kentucky landfill without success. Sebastian was last seen February 26 near Stafford Court in Hendersonville. The boy's family said he walked out of their Hendersonville home between midnight and 6 a.m. And that's important because if the stepfather left the home early that morning, he would have left the home during that time frame to get to Memphis to start his job on time. And we have a hit at a construction dump not too far from him, and he has the 3.5-hour drive to work. And if he left that day or left that night, left after midnight, there's no telling where Sebastian could be along his trail to work if he is responsible. But again, it comes back to when was the stepdad last at the house, and when did he leave to go to work?
I'm also hearing that his employer has told him not to come back to work until he gets this ordeal situated. That's never good. Not like he should be going to work anyways in a situation like this, right? I mean, his stepson's missing, has been missing for 3 weeks. You know, he's got some significant things going on. I guarantee that there's already probably been FBI agents or law enforcement agents at his job questioning anybody and everybody that's been around him. So they know his behavior on the job, whether he's an angry employee. You know, some of those construction workers get heated. What kind of personality this man has. So I think this man he's used to putting up a facade. I don't know why I feel that. When I looked behind her and saw her house and Sebastian's house all perfect. You know, I always, you know, there's a lot of things that you can say, but, you know, I pick up on certain cues. And it's like whenever had an interview with Bio Dad. Yeah, I've got Bio Dad. I got an interview with Bio Dad, not from past the Pascal show, but I do have Bio Dad interview with a news organization. So let me get back to this and we'll get over to that. So Sebastian was last seen February 26th near Stafford Court in Hendersonville. There's also a video, a dark video. We don't know if it truly is a surveillance video on that house or near that house. But there is one circulating that showed that it looks like it is the backyard at night, but you can never be sure. We don't know where it came from. And it does appear that there are 2 flashlights, which I find a little concerning. And if it is true, this shows 2 people outside of that home poking around in the backyard. Now, we'll get back to that. The boy's family said he walked out of their home in Hendersonville. Oh, yeah, that's what I was getting at. So if they can pick up and there was a camera on the backyard, certainly there was a camera that could have seen what was going on when the sun was starting to come up and it was starting to get a little brighter out, probably around, 5:30, 6 a.m. It might still be dark, but you would think that they would have been able to see a lone boy walking down the road on the multiple cameras that have to be in this community. I mean, it looks like a nice community. The boy's family said he walked out of their Hendersonville home between midnight and 6 a.m., and they learned he was missing when his mother, Katie Proudfoot, tried to wake him up for school. There have been no sightings of Sebastian, no evidence pointing to his whereabouts as of Thursday, officials said, leading many to worry for the teen's safety. An investigation into Rogers' case has been running concurrently since search and rescue efforts began. TBI spokesperson Susan Nyland said Wednesday, though she remained vague about the nature of the investigation and whether the case has turned criminal. At this stage of the investigation, there is no evidence that criminal activity is involved. There is also no evidence that criminal activity is not involved. So until information develops that directs it one way or the other, all options are being considered and pursued, Nyland said. Sorry, it's a little sticky here. Not sure why. Give me a second. I don't know where it was. There it was. It's all these commercials they put on. This is an awful reading experience for their actual viewers. TBI agents and intelligence analysis are pursuing leads in the case after receiving more than 100 tips about Sebastian. Nyland said, adding that none of them have been credible. The TBI said Sebastian was wearing a black sweatshirt, black sweatpants, and glasses at the time he went missing. Sumner County Chief Deputy Eric Craddock previously told media that Katie Proudfoot said all of her son's shoes were accounted for at the family's home. Craddock did not return calls or emails seeking an update on the investigation this week. Sebastian is 5'5", 120 pounds, dirty blonde hair. He is autistic and believed to be without his medication. Hundreds of people have searched the area around Rogers' home after the boy's disappearance. They've covering thousands of miles in and around Hendersonville.
Thousands of miles. Did you guys read that? Thousands of miles. There's no way this kid could have walked thousands of miles. Storm drains, garages, crawl space have all been targeted in the searches. Aircraft drones, SWAT teams, night vision, canines, horses have all been used. Maybe it's because they're searching the wrong area, because the only person that seems to have been away from the area was the stepfather. Hopefully they're following his steps. Sebastian's stepfather, Chris Proudfoot, said during a live stream interview that his family has been harassed since the teen went missing because he is involved in a custody battle in another state. What is factual is that the father and the mother and myself have been extremely cooperative, he said during an interview. We have been vetted. We have been checked out. We have been questioned and everything of that nature, and literally have been cleared. There is no wrongdoing. There is no negative input from the parents or any of the family. I don't know if I agree that they have been cleared. One of the first things that we would assume once parents have been cleared is kind of like in Brandy Neal's case, where Chief J.D. Huff stood right next to the parents and said that the investigation is leading them into a different route. They're not doing that with these parents. As a matter of fact, I don't think any press conference at all has been with the parents. And then I'm referring to the stepfather and the mother. So it just seems to me, a little concerning that we have no joint press conference with the parents pleading for the safe return of this boy. It doesn't make sense. So I'm not sure if I truly believe Chris Proudfoot, is that his name, Chris? Can't remember what his first name is. I think it's Chris. Yeah, Chris Proudfoot. This idea that he is cleared, I don't see how. I don't see how he could possibly be cleared, especially when law enforcement came out specifically and told the whole world that there is possibility of foul play at this point. Well, there's only 2 people in and around this boy, and they put themselves into a corner because they basically say he doesn't really hang out with anybody, and he doesn't hang out with anybody, and he doesn't play on the internet speaking to anybody. So they're basically telling us that this boy is isolated around them. So if this boy doesn't really have any friends and he's not on the internet talking to anybody, who do we think could have possibly done this? They put themselves in that corner. He would never walk, he would never walk out. He's never walked out on his own. All of his shoes are accounted for. I don't know. I definitely don't believe that they're cleared. There's not one piece in my mind that makes me feel that these parents are cleared. When the law enforcement tells us that they're cleared, I'll believe it. The search for Sebastian led officials to a Kentucky landfill where trash from the family's home is sent. But where is the trash that was, that construction dumpster that got the hit? Where was that dumped? Is that dumped in the same landfill? No leads or evidence was discovered during the search there, officials said in a release. So there we have that. And then I think the next one is the father's interview. It is the father's interview. We'll probably have a commercial.
I'm hearing different ways for me to screen for colon cancer.
Okay, so for all the people out there, you might want to screen for colon cancer. That's what the advertisement is, but I don't feel like listening to the jingle. So get your colon checked today. Yay. Colonoscopy. It's a necessary evil, guys. And I mean that, guys, because guys are the ones that don't like getting a colonoscopy. Neither do women, but still.
Weeks ago, we were just learning about the disappearance of Sebastian Rogers from Sumner County. Today, the search continues. The case, though, we know is now a criminal investigation. Thanks for being with us at 6, everyone. I'm Rory Johnston.
And I'm Kelsey Gibson for Carrie tonight. For the first time, we are getting a look at family video of the missing 15-year-old. Sebastian's biological father gave it to Nick Barris during an exclusive on-camera interview.
So here's the interview of the father. We're about to watch a home video, apparently.
Seth Rogers shares custody of his son and the...
So that tells us right there, there's shared custody. So the father's in this child's life. The bio father is involved in this child's life. That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Deputy with the Davidson County Sheriff's Department spent the past 2 weeks looking for Sebastian.
I'm hoping he's still alive. You know, that's my main hope right now, is that he's not deceased. I mean, I keep praying that he's alive. I keep praying that somebody's going to see him, or somebody's going to call 911.
Seth's 15-year-old son disappeared barefoot and with a flashlight from his mother.
And this is another thing. This is the flashlight thing's an issue for me. The flashlight thing's an issue for me in light of seeing that uncorroborated surveillance video of their alleged backyard, is seeing 2 flashlights and them bringing up this flashlight. You know what I'm saying? Like, it seems like an odd thing to say about the flashlight. You know what? I honestly, I don't know who can tell you this. I definitely can't. But their house is perfect, so maybe they're very meticulous about their flashlights. But I don't know if I would notice if a flashlight is missing. Would anybody notice if one of your flashlights were missing? I don't know. Like, I don't even know where the hell my flashlight is right now. How would I know if it's missing? It's always missing. Every time I need it, it's never there. I did just find it a little bit ago. I will be honest with you. Apparently, I packed it up and took it with me. It's in my shoe carrier. So I did find it this morning, which I find a little ironic that we're talking about a flashlight, and I found my flashlight. But I don't know who would notice a flashlight missing. I found that odd. I don't know why nobody else found that odd. Because when I look at these things, I look at my behaviors, or, you know, I think I'm somewhat normal. You know, what is normal? You know? But I feel like I'm somewhat normal. And so I try to think about, you know, these certain things that I'm like, huh? And I'm thinking, would I really know where my flashlight is? And I'm like, I don't even know where my flashlight is right now. Nobody's here to take it. It's just me, you know?
Mother and stepfather's home in Hendersonville either late on Sunday, March 3rd, or early that Monday. Seth knows the key to finding his son may come from a tip. Several photographs have already been made public, and now he's released 2 video clips of Sebastian. In this first one, you see Sebastian up front on the left in yellow shorts, participating in a tug-of-war with fellow students.
And if you watch, he got swung around at the end like a little rag doll, and it's like, well, he gave it his best.
This second video shows Sebastian walking at his middle school graduation.
I was very proud of him. I mean...
So you have involved parents here. You've got both very much involved parents. He shares custody with them. He cares about his kid. You know, the shared custody thing, in my mind, eliminates him as, you know, wanting to go and, you know, snatch his son or something like that. Like, I'm looking at him. There's nothing that's vibing wrong with me in this guy, other than he seems like a concerned father. He seems like a badass. It seems like if he finds out something happens to his son or happened to his son, it seems like this is a dad that doesn't mind taking care of some business. I mean, I'm getting that kind of vibe from him. But as far as getting the vibe that he was a bad dad to his son, I'm not getting that. I haven't looked in this man's history. You know, God knows what I'll find. You know, we never know. But I'm not vibing like, I don't get an off sense with this guy. I got an off sense immediately with the stepfather and the mother, and I feel guilty of that, especially if they had nothing to do with it. But this guy, I've got nothing. This I'm not vibing. I have nothing with. I've got nothing. Like, I believe this guy.
He successfully completed something.
Seth says his son, who is autistic, is not a wanderer. He finds it highly unlikely Sebastian would leave in the middle of the night.
Highly unlikely Sebastian would leave in the middle of the night. Okay, guys, this kid wasn't on the internet. He didn't have a whole lot of friends. I mean, he did things at his school. He was a high functioning autistic boy, but he was still autistic. And, you know, kids this day and age aren't the nicest people in the world. So I can't imagine. I mean, I'm sure he had a good time at school, but I'm sure he had some rough times at school with his disability, because kids are just assholes, right? I was an asshole at one point in time. I got to tell you, by middle school, or by high school, I was very, very much anti-bullying. There was a girl there that I can tell you a very specific situation. There was a girl there, and you could tell her, we knew her because we grew up with her, and she was always in the slow learning disability classes and stuff like that. And we had 4 of the most popular kids around her kind of laughing. And I'm like, you could clearly see that this girl looked a little terrified. She didn't know what was going on. And so I went over there and I'm like, you know, what the hell's going on here? You know, because you kind of saw something, you know, and I've always been a person that stood up and spoke up. So I went over there and I'm like, you know, what's going on over here? And this girl that had, you know, mental disabilities had started her menstrual cycle, and she was terrified. She didn't know what to do. She just saw blood. And instead of the popular girls taking her over to the nurse, they decided to laugh at her and point their fingers at her. And this girl didn't know what was going on. She was terrified. And so I went over there and I had to scream at these girls, and I ended up taking this girl to the nurse to kind of, you know, it's not, I don't know how to explain, you know, but you go over and you get the person help. But you know, I have to use that experience and understand that something like that may have gone on in the school where he was at. Would kids be so cruel to come over and coax him out of his house? I wouldn't put it past children, but with everything going on right now with this case, nothing seems likely, because there's no evidence this child even left the home. And that came right from a searcher's own mouth. That came right from a searcher's own mouth. So we have to put a lot of stock in what this bio dad is saying. Do you think stepdad wanted the bio dad out of the picture by taking Sebastian out of the picture? No, if I had to guess, my best guess, I had to think that as Sebastian was getting a little older, he was getting a little more, a little harder to deal with. He was becoming a stronger boy. So maybe his fits of rage, or, you know, when he was acting out, maybe he didn't have fits of rage, but I heard that that's sometimes normal with the autistic child. But I think, you know, if I were to look at the parents that had him, I would have to look at this from a sense of maybe it was getting unmanageable, and it was causing too many problems in the family for the stepfather and the mother. Maybe they were on a verge of a divorce over the son. We don't know what was going on behind closed doors, and getting the parents to acknowledge anything other than they had a perfect life is going to be like pulling teeth, because right now everything that we're seeing from the stepfather and the mother is that everything's normal, nothing to see over here. I disagree. You know, they do acknowledge that they have problems, you know, that, you know, he's sometimes hasn't been easy to go to bed or something like that. I can't remember exactly what was said, because the behavior panel had a larger portion of the interview than I had ever seen at that point.
So we'll get back to that, but let's get back to BioDad and see what BioDad. But I do think that there is. I think we're kind of on the right thought process. I think there was more going on behind the scenes at this house than we know or realize. But I think at this point, if law enforcement did not want us to be focusing on the parents, they would be pulling an Idaho 4. They would be coming out and saying that mom and dad have been cleared. And if anything changes, they will be relooked at, yada, yada, get some focus off of them so people can start focusing on other things if other things happen. We're not getting that from law enforcement. Does it mean that they're cleared? To be honest with you, I don't know, because law enforcement hasn't said so. And quite frankly, mom and stepdad are suspects to me, or at least at minimum persons of interest. So I'm not going to believe what's coming out of their mouth because I believe that they're persons of interest. And until somebody of authority can change that in my mind, I'm going to continue to look at them that way. And I think everybody else should as well. Because at the end of the day, when have we never looked at the people that were the last people to see the person alive? When have we never looked at them and scrutinized them in their life and whether they're capable of something like this? I just find it a little odd that we can think of a woman that has never been accused of harming her child in her life, being a monster, people believing that she's a monster, but this man that has clear domestic violence and abuses in his background couldn't be capable of doing this. I think it's a little odd for me to look at it from that lens. Like, how can we do that? Right? With no shoes, here's what guidance says, with no shoes, etc. I don't think so, especially with his fear of dirty feet. Yeah, exactly. Oh, and by the way, guys, just to let you know, our call line has been open. So if you do call in, I'm going to get through this. If you do call in, give me an opportunity to get whatever's on the screen. If I don't catch you before you hang up, then, just call back. So, but wait until this video is over before we actually, let me turn off the phones real quick. We'll open the phones up once we're done with this BioDad video.
Barefoot, based on an experience his son had as a child.
He decided that he wanted to step into a mound of what he thought was dirt, and it was fire ants. And since then, it's always been, doesn't like to get his feet in the dirt. He likes to have his socks and shoes on.
Seth won't rule out the possibility of foul play, that someone is involved in his son's disappearance. And if Sebastian is able, he says he needs to call for help.
He needs to call 911. And if somebody has him, you need to give him back. He's my son, and he doesn't belong to nobody, but damn it, he's mine.
It didn't seem like he had a problem saying Sebastian's name or his son's name like mom and stepdad did. I mean, they had to be coaxed through the entire, and this is what's so odd for me, how the behavior panel thought this was okay, because the exact same things that they said about Jen Soto, it seemed like the very next video, they said just the opposite about the same behaviors. I was just, I don't get it. I just don't get it. But okay. This is a father that didn't need to be coaxed on what to say to demand his son back. He's like, this is my son. If you have him, give him back. Son, if you can hear me, call for help. When you look at the other parents, which is so frustrating that the behavior panel was so dismissive at their dismissal of their own son, as if he's already gone. But then they have these little tidbits of, when he comes home, he's going to have a parade of people. Like they're imagining a parade of people in their son's honor. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it, but I just wholly disagreed. I disagreed. When I look at that father, I see a father fighting for a son and wanting answers. And I don't see that. I see, the same old shit with the parents. Oh, social media is being mean to me. It's all about them, and now social media being mean to them, and they stop even focusing on the reason why social media is focused on them. They don't even say their child's name. I don't know. Let's look at this interview with the parents.
Sumner County described to us exclusively how they...
You probably can't hear that, can you? Hold on a second, because it's YouTube. I'm realizing that I just need to drop the screen and put the screen back up. I think that's the key to this, because I've been having so many audio issues when it comes specifically to YouTube content. So here we go. This is, let's just get to the parents. I don't really... Okay, here's the interview that now the behavior panel got a little more, some of the cut out versions of this interview, stuff that I didn't see when they were analyzing the interview. So they might have reached out and got the interview directly from the news company. Let's just see what we got here.
What you're thinking right now. I just want my baby to be okay. I don't know where he's at.
Mom Katie broke down several times in our interview, but says her hope is strong that her son Sebastian will be found safe and returned home.
He's going to walk through that door, and this street will be flooded again with family and relatives all waiting to...
See, I don't like his response here. And see, what we don't get to see in this interview is the stuff that the behavior panel had, which even almost solidified that these parents had to be literally coached by the interview team to say certain things. And so we may have to go over to the behavior panel and just pull those clips, because you need to see the stuff we can't see in this interview.
Hugging, love him. And
Stepdad Chris says it's been an emotional roller coaster that all started Sunday night, February 25th.
Pretty normal. He was playing in his room. When I told him to go to bed, he did.
See, and they dismissed that laugh as obviously he had problems going to bed. Right. So why is she saying if he had problems going to bed, why did all these things that don't normally happen this day, the night before and into the next day? He obviously had problems going to bed normally. So why did this night he go to bed without a problem?
He said, "Good night, Mom. I love you."
Katie says she went to wake up Sebastian around 6 a.m. Monday for school, and he was gone. Within minutes, Katie says she was on the phone with Chris, who was working out of town, and they quickly called 911.
He was working out of town, they said. Now, mind you, he was working out of town. He was working 3.5 hours away near Memphis. 3.5 hours away. Okay, so yeah, he's working out of town, but he's not working out of state. I would assume he would be coming home at night, or not at night, rather, on the weekends if he can't come home. 6 hours on the road a day, that's too much. The gas prices alone, it's cheaper for you to stay there, but I can't imagine him staying there without coming home. No wife would want that. So it seems to me, this is how I've always understand on the road construction, usually around 2 p.m. on Friday. You get paid and you get off early. Sometimes you don't. If you work for a company and you got to be there until 5, you're there until 5. So, even if that, I would think that he would be home by 9 p.m. on a Friday, and he would be with his family from Friday night to either sometime Sunday, or getting up ridiculously early on Monday and heading off to work to start your week. So this being a Monday when all this stuff happened,
and it coming right off of a Sunday when all this stuff happened, it seems it would imply to me, based upon everything I know now, I don't know his schedule, and I don't know if this week he decided to come home to his family, right? So I'm putting a lot of assumption here. I'm interjecting my, something that doesn't exist right at the moment, that he could potentially have been home over the weekend. They never explained that. They stayed away from that. They did not, and nobody knows when the last time Chris saw Sebastian. When did he leave his house to go to his job? Did he leave his house? Was he home that weekend? Because there's other parts in his interview that almost imply that he was home that weekend. So if he was home that weekend, when did he leave to go to work? And when he left to go to work, was Sebastian at home at that time? And what time did he leave? And did it fall in that timeline of 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. when Sebastian wandered off? And again, not discrediting my other question that I had was, could he have disappeared before the night in question? That was another question I had. Because who saw this kid that weekend? I mean, I haven't even heard any other third party come forward and said that they saw, stepdad or mom and son, or, what was their weekend? What did their weekend look like that weekend? Did they go out? Did they do anything as a family? Did they stay home and just, be lazy like some families are on the weekend? What were the activities in and around that weekend leading up to his disappearance? Did he have fun? Did he do anything special? What was his behavior like during school the week before? Mom and son on video at a restaurant Sunday evening. Perfect. Perfect. Frankie, if you've got the URL to that, do you mind sending that to me at bullhornbetty@gmail.com? That's bullhornbetty@gmail.com. I'd like to just review it. So if they were at a restaurant, mom and son were at a restaurant Sunday evening, ooh, this kind of gets it a little bit different now. If they were at a restaurant Sunday evening alone, it could imply one of two things: that dad was home sleeping because he had to get up ridiculously early to go to work, or it could imply that he was already in Memphis and mom was the only one alone with the son. But we can't discredit the kids at school either. Coaxing, if they think somebody coaxed him out of the house, the only people that I could think that would be bold enough and, do something like this would be some bullies at school, right? It's not the first time I've heard of it. So there are some things that could go on here, but I'm curious about the father or the stepfather, Chris Proudfoot. That is the one that we don't know, and that's where we need to focus a lot of our stuff. Where was he? Where was he that weekend? When did he get to his job? What is it? When does he come home to visit with his family? We need to craft that, because one of the things I wrote down here based upon the information that we have that's being stated now, mom would have been home alone. And the only one home alone was Sebastian Rogers. That would give it a new twist. Because mom, I didn't even really consider as being, I started thinking there's a possibility when I saw that video with the two flashlights. But I did say if anything happened and Chris did it, that mom would have known. I did say that. And I said that early on when we didn't even know what was going on in this case.
And he's not a runner. He's never run away before. I don't know why. I don't know why he walked out that door.
But see, this is the thing is with all of this, walking out the door and stuff, what leads her to believe that? Was the front door unlocked?
We have no information that leads us to believe why this family believes this child would walk out the front door if he's never walked out the front door alone in his life. Why is mom automatically going there, just like with Don Wells? Why did Don Wells automatically go straight to his daughter was abducted? He never even considered she was lost out there in the wilderness. From the minute he pulled up to the house, that was what was coming out of his mouth. I don't know.
I mean, he's a good kid. He's not a mischievous child by any means.
Katie and Chris say Sebastian is not on social media. While he loves to play Minecraft, they tell me he does not have any online capabilities. I asked if there was any reason he might want to leave.
We've been combing over that day and even the weeks before he left, and I hadn't been able to figure it out.
And we have to look at the possibility. I'm looking at this, the possibility, and it might dovetail, what were the reasons? And it might have been because if her husband was gone for weeks on end, that means that she was the lone person taking care of an autistic child with no help. Somebody in here said that they thought the mom, it might have even been my mom, thought that she may have just snapped. But again, these are all hypotheticals. We don't know. We don't know. Where do we point the finger? We don't know. In all these cases, sometimes you get a clear-cut indicator. Like, with Stefan Stearns, I think everybody kind of looked directly in his way when we started hearing some of the details of the case. She resents if they were getting money for Sebastian, she'd lose it when bio father got custody. Wow. Yeah, it seems, I don't know. I don't know. There's just, everybody keeps saying he would not walk off. He doesn't have very many friends. He's not on the internet. This is backing this family into the corner because autistic children are not spontaneous children. So, I honestly don't know what to say.
He's, that morning he was laughing, he was joking.
It's as if Sebastian vanished.
That morning he was laughing and joking. Oh, let's go back and listen to that.
He's, that morning he was laughing, he was joking.
It's as if Sebastian vanished. No sign of him.
We need to go back. That morning, she said she went in there to wake him up and he wasn't there. What? Hold on. Let's just read this again.
He's not a mischievous child by any means.
Katie and Chris say Sebastian is not on social media. While he loves to play Minecraft, they tell me he does not have any online capabilities. I asked if there was any reason he might want to leave.
We've been combing over that day and even the weeks before he left, and I hadn't been able to figure it out. He's, that morning he was laughing, he was joking.
It's as if Sebastian...
Okay. Now, that didn't make sense. That didn't make sense. She says that... Wait a minute. Hold on. Let's go back to this.
I don't know where he's at.
Home safely. Can you walk us through what you're thinking right now?
I just want my baby to be okay. I don't know where he's at.
Mom Katie broke down several times in our interview, but says her hope is strong that her son Sebastian will be found safe and return home.
He's going to walk through that door, and this street will be flooded again with family and relatives all waiting to hug and love him. And
Stepdad Chris says it's been an emotional roller coaster that all started Sunday night, February 25th.
Pretty normal. He was playing in his room. When I told him to go to bed, he did. He said, "Good night, Mom. I love you."
Katie says she went to wake up Sebastian around 6 a.m. Monday for school, and he was gone.
Okay, and she says, where were we just at? Here?
I mean, he's a good kid. He's not a mischievous child by any means.
Katie and Chris say Sebastian is not on social media. While he loves to play Minecraft, they tell me he does not have any online capabilities. I asked if there was any reason he might want to leave.
We've been combing over that day and even the weeks before he left, and I hadn't been able to figure it out. He's that morning he was laughing, he was joking.
It's as if Sebastian vanished.
I'm listening to it, but I'm a little confused. She's saying on one hand, she went in there and picked him up, or wait to wake him up, and he was not there. And Chris says that she ended up calling him and saying he's not here. So what day was she talking about that he was happy that morning? She's saying Sunday morning, not Monday morning, y'all. Let's go back and listen to that. I don't know. Where are you hearing Sunday? Let's listen to that.
I don't know why he walked out that door.
I mean, he's a good kid. He's not a mischievous child by any means.
Katie.
Okay, let's listen to what her question is.
And Chris say Sebastian is not on social media. While he loves to play Minecraft, they tell me he does not have any online capabilities.
So he has no online capabilities. Now let's just listen to her question. What is her question?
I asked if there was any reason he might want to leave.
If there's any reason he might want to leave. Any reason he might want to leave. Let's listen to the mom's response.
We've been combing over that day and
We've been combing over that day. That day would, in my mind, is the day he left.
even the weeks before he left.
The weeks before he left.
And I hadn't been able to figure it out. He's that morning he was laughing, he was joking.
It's as if Sebastian vanished.
That morning he was laughing and joking, as if Sebastian just vanished. I don't know, Phoenix. I don't know. You know, it's unclear to me what day they're referring to. Could it be another day other than Monday? Yeah, but it sounds like she's implying Monday. What other morning is she talking about? There's been no other morning introduced into the entire interview. I don't know. I'd like clarification on that. I don't want to assume, I don't want to assume. I'd like clarification on that. I was thinking the exact same thing. Let me go up just a little bit. Allie, she just snitched on herself. I think she did, which is still a red flag. Yeah, there's some red flags definitely here. Is it off of the flashlight? I'm in the middle of a conversation here. I heard that this morning. What did we hear this morning? Hold on, let me go up. He can't be there and laughing and joking at the same. Yeah, it doesn't. It's not clear. But you know what?
in all fairness, some of the I'd like to see the interview in its entirety. I think we should. I hope that they release the entire interview with these parents, because sometimes, and I do it myself, is, you know, because I do video editing, is you'll have something and I'll cut that and put it at the front. So it might be that the conversation is mixed up a little bit, but it seemed like that was all part of the same conversation. So I don't know. I really don't. But it sounds to me like she was talking about that morning and effed up. And I didn't catch it the first time, but I'm looking at, you know, I'm listening to it. It caught my ear this morning. I've listened to this interview 3 times, didn't catch that. Like you literally saw the light bulb go off of my head, literally on this live, where I'm like, wait, what? She says Sunday. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know. She actually didn't say that. So I'm uncertain. I'm uncertain. But I mean, I guess it could be implying of another day. But I don't. You guys hear it just as well as I do. I mean, whatever it says to you is whatever it says to you. But this sounds a little kinky to me. I think she is talking about the morning before he went missing. Right, but we're thinking. We have nothing to say one way or another. I think it would probably be good that morning. Some people saying that they think it was that morning. No, it's 25-minute call-in video his dad did. Hold on, let me go over to my. Did you send it to me by email? What I'll do, if you did, I'll have to review it and probably chop it up a little bit because of fair use. Okay, yeah. So I'll go there and review it and see and listen to it, and because of fair use, I just can't play it through here. Nor, you know, I want to review it first to see what's all in there. So I will. We'll come back maybe later this afternoon or tomorrow morning and go over that aspect of the interview. But I'm definitely interested in that. But so far, I believe Biodad. You know, he seems totally unconnected to this, and it doesn't seem like a man that wants anything to happen to his son. It seems like he was proud. I mean, the stuff that he showed, you know, the news was about him participating in sports and really enjoying himself. And it seemed like his dad it made his dad's heart happy to see his son happy. And that's a good sign for me. The other two, I just don't know what to think of them just yet. Mom said that she called stepdad 3 minutes after she noticed he was gone, and she hadn't even looked outside yet. That's an interesting point too. Does it bode with normal people's behaviors? That's interesting. Why would she call him so soon after realizing her son wasn't there? Interesting. Yeah. So Phoenix says to me it's Sunday. That's what she wants us to believe. I think she slipped up and said something happened earlier on Sunday. Ooh, interesting. But if we did see the video of her Sunday night with her son, at least we have a proof of life and a specific time of when he was last seen alive. Yeah, we heard right. It does. It has the 911 call been released? I don't think it has. Let's see. 911 call. I see something here for a 911 call, but I don't know if it's really his. Hold on, let me look at this. I don't think they have. I don't think they have.
I really don't. I don't think they have, because everything that's on TikTok is a hashtag of sorts, not an actual video that's for the 911, and that's the only one that's even registering for 911 calls. So I'd have to say no, that there is no 911 call. 911 call. All right, let's get back to this.
No sign of him on any video throughout the community.
No sign on him on any video throughout the community. There is no possibility that this child left that home on foot. There is absolutely no possibility. I don't know why I didn't hear that on the last time, because that was one of the questions that I came into the show with, was if this flashlight video is true, then they would have surveillance in the community. And how can did any surveillance pick up on this boy walking down the road? I mean, even all of our cameras have like a form of night vision on it if they're outside of her home. So they would have, even if it was black and white or grainy, they would have some movement of somebody walking down the road with no shoes on and a flashlight. And they just said there is none of that, which again solidify why that searcher said, we usually have something significant at this point. We've got nothing. And he basically said, without saying it, that we don't even have evidence he walked out of that house. And he almost said it just like that, but he didn't say it like that. Let's go back and listen to that. We need to listen to that again.
No sign of him on any video throughout the community. Thousands of miles logged by law enforcement, canines, helicopters, even dive teams, and no sign of him. Chris and Katie tell me they've been harassed, people pointing fingers at them.
You're not in this situation. You don't quite understand.
Well, I may not quite understand, Chris, but you got a lot of explaining to do, my friend, because there is no proof that child even left that home or walked out that door. So if there's no proof that child even walked out your door, where is he? Something's not making sense in the Sebastian Rogers case. It's just not. I don't know why it stinks to high heaven, but it does. This stuff doesn't make sense. And it's all coming out of the parents' own mouth. They're being truthful. He would never walk out the door because he wouldn't. They're being truthful. He had no shoes on because they can account for all of his shoes. They were being truthful. He went to bed at night with her telling him just to go to bed. Doesn't sound truthful. It sounds like she was, that doesn't happen. Why did it happen that night? I would caution the mom, if the father was home, quit backing herself in the corner by saying she was the only one alone with this child. If something happened and she's a woman of domestic violence, now's the time to start letting law enforcement know. And likewise, if Chris knows that mom was getting short and it was getting more complicated to handle Sebastian, then he needs to come forward and say that the mom was cracking under pressure. If that's the case, they need to be helping themselves out. But there's definitely something that stinks to high heaven. He didn't have very many friends. He wasn't on the internet. He doesn't walk out of the house. He doesn't leave without shoes. And there's no surveillance of him ever leaving the house. And we have legit searchers saying, we got nothing. We can't even prove he walked out of his house. So that tells you guys, for me, that tells me a lot. And then for us to hear that Chris is saying he is cleared. Okay. I don't know how. It doesn't seem probable.
It's also very weird that they had stepdad call and tell real dad, not the mom herself. That's a little interesting. And why would she call her step-husband or her husband as opposed to the father? Why didn't she call them almost in tandem? I would think that you call one and call another. I mean, if I was jammed up and I needed help, I'd call my mom and called my dad. I mean, hell, I think I even called my sister. I think I call the whole family, tell them what's going on, you know? But the immediate family, yeah, if you can't find your son and you got two men that are ultra involved, why would you call one without the other? I don't know. You're right, BHB. She put her lips in right after knowing she made that mistake. Yeah, I mean, there's something there. It seems, we're assuming she was talking about Sunday, but to me, it seems like it was a clear-cut contradiction. How can you have a joyful, but you know what? It could have been, we didn't prepare or edit this video. It could have been something where they just forgot to add in one little sentence. They cut it too short and it just blended in. It sounded good the way it was done, when you're looking at it and you're listening to it, but maybe where they cut it, it almost sounded like a contradiction when it really wasn't. They were talking about, say, Sunday. That's the bad thing about some videos. They do, we modify them, we cut them and put them in order so they flow easier. We take out all the gaps of air and all the ums and ands, and to make it a nice, pretty little production. I do it. Everybody does it that's in this business. So even when I'm out there, there may be something that grabs your attention in a video right up front. I may have said that at the end of the video, and I just cut that out and put it to the front to grab the attention of the audience. I felt that way too. That's why it was so confusing with the behavior panel, why I'm having such a conflict with them over the last two cases. Not a conflict with them, obviously. They're giving their opinion. They're analyzing. They did, they take their, and nobody's going to get 100% out of 100%. They're just taking their experience, they're top in their field, and they're applying it to these cases and trying to bring some light to the cases. I absolutely appreciate their work. I don't want to discredit their field or who they are. I've got a Chase Hughes book here. I've been studying his work for several years now. So I'm very familiar with them. I like them. I like their analysis. I've learned a lot from them over the years. It's just when it comes to these two cases, for whatever reason, I'm just at odds with them. Their analysis, like in Jen Soto's behavior panel, I agreed with their assessments. Like every bit of their assessments, she's fearful here, she's concerned here. Her baseline, some of the things that she was being deceptive about, I agreed with that. I agreed up until their analysis of why she was doing it, and then they lost me in the weeds. I didn't agree with their analysis of it. But that does, I'm just one person, right? They're professionals. They've been doing this for years and years and years. Who am I? Blah, blah, blah. But I still have an opinion. I still have my bullshit dar. And I read through people. I've known it. I've experienced a lot in my little bit of years, and I've got a lot of experiences under my belt and behind me. And I'm just saying that I just disagree wholeheartedly with some of the assessments. And now my audience doesn't necessarily, but I do. And I think I'm more in line with my audience in their analysis on this one, with us not really agreeing with the behavior panel. Like, they basically gave this family a free pass. These two people that you just watched interview making those mistakes, they basically said that they're truthful. And there are some things they're being truthful about. They have no choice but to be truthful about them, And that's what, was he wearing shoes? There are things. What is the best? We talk about lies and what makes a great lie. The reason why lies are so widely believed by many people is because they have a basis of truth.
That's how they can convince you. The lies that has no basis of truth are the ones that we are like, we know he's bullshit, right? But the really good, the people that are professional liars, manipulators, cunning, conniving, those are the people that know how to tell a lie. They know how to tell a lie with a straight face. They know how to, that no matter what, even under pressure, can bullshit their way out of it. We all know somebody like that, right? They can bullshit their way, like they can sell ice to an Eskimo person. We all know one or two in our lives. We don't know how they do it, but they do it. I don't know if that's what, I don't know anything about Chris. I don't know anything about Sebastian's mother. I'm just saying that they're saying that this can't happen. I don't know what happened. You've had this boy for 15 years and nothing like this has ever happened. Nothing. And then all of a sudden it does. But he has no friends. He does not talk to anybody on social media, and there's no reason for him to leave the inside of that home. And you're trying to convince the world that he left without shoes, which he would never do. Because he does that instinctually. Instinctually. He wouldn't even think about it. He would just, when he leaves the house, sit down and put his shoes and socks on instinctually. That was not what was done here. He just disappeared without shoes. When did stepdad leave the house? And why is mom a little confused on her days? And why is law enforcement not standing side by side with the family saying, hey, we need our child back? Sebastian's 5'5", 130 pounds, blonde hair. He's a high-functioning autistic person. If you've seen him, please call us. If you have him, let him go. We love Sebastian. Sebastian's a good kid. You know, when you really believe somebody is abducted, you go straight to the cameras and you start humanizing that child in that camera in hopes that the person that has your child makes that child human to them so they can't hurt them. The only person that I've seen exhibit those behaviors was BioDad. Let me show you guys something. Give me just a second. Okay, let's get back. Okay, I think it was almost at the beginning. I think it was like right here. Okay, so I'm going to bring the behavior panel in because I think everything I need to say is up front in this. You're going to see how and if it's not at this clip, I'll go to the next clip. But it's the reporter. Literally, this is what you didn't see in that last video, coaxing them as to what to say, and the behavior panel got to see all this. And even though just a few days before they were criticizing Jen Soto for not saying the son's name, this reporter literally had to tell them what to say. I'm just like, again, I'm confused.
This is now becoming.
Oh, you know what? I can't tell could you guys hear that? Let me just go ahead and just take it off and let me just remove it and put it back on because I just don't trust YouTube anymore. Okay.
An investigation. It was a massive search for several days, and we're going to look.
So first, just express, I can't even imagine as a parent what you two are going through. How would you describe the situation right now? How are you coping?
See? Like she's smirking and like, well, what? Like, the first thing that came to my mind when I saw the behavior panel's breakdown of this, I feel like law enforcement called them and said, hey, you know what? We need you guys to kind of, act like these parents didn't do anything so we can catch them up. Like, I'm like floored. Like, I'm like, this, like I said, this is stuff we didn't see. That's why I kind of think that they reached out and got the full video from the actual news crew that was there, because they have stuff that we haven't seen that has not been released by this news company. And that right there, literally in the first few seconds, I'm like, what the? Because when I watched this, I'm like, wait a minute, I haven't seen this part before. And I'm listening to it. I'm like, this even sounds worse. This even makes me feel like these parents, like there's just bells just going off when I hear this stuff and see this stuff. Let's go back. We're going to start it back again. We'll go back.
The situation right now, how are you coping?
She's not crying.
We're on a constant roller coaster ride of helpless and hopeless.
Is rub the top of her nose. She's not, she does cry. I do see tears later down, but at this point she doesn't. She's almost hiding her face, which I thought was a little odd for me. Okay, just to let you know, I thought it was a little odd for me.
We're on a constant roller coaster ride of helpless and hopeless and many other emotions all in one, and it's a never-ending roller coaster. It doesn't stop. It won't stop until he walks through the door.
I wouldn't wish this on anyone.
So, I mean, let's just keep going, because it hasn't gotten to the part that I think it's coming up next.
Not anyone.
I know we're about keeping hope alive. I'm sure that's in there somewhere.
I'm sure that there's keeping hope alive is somewhere in there. She's coaching them.
I know we're about keeping hope alive. I'm sure that's in there somewhere.
Oh, yeah. Always.
And it's like she's trying to convince herself he's going to come home. Like, I don't know. I don't understand how this is not, this here, to me, is problematic. But, for the professionals, this is what they are expecting to see in the behaviors of distraught parents. I'm like, I'm floored. I'm floored.
He's going to walk through that door. And this street will be flooded again with family and relatives all waiting to hug and love him. And
that boy's going to have more friends than he knows what to do with when he comes home.
It's to me, when I hear this, I mean, call me crazy, but when I hear this, that to me, in their behaviors, they're almost like they're saying stuff out of their mouth for me, but their body language is to me, implies they don't think he's coming back through that door. I honestly, the chuckling back and forth, them eyeballing each other, them, I really just don't. Yes, I remember when Susan Smith had her tissue there. But in all fairness, this mother did have some tears later in this interview. I saw them myself. But I'm sorry, not to pick apart the parents, but they were the last ones to see this boy alive. I mean, who else are we going to look at? You're telling us he has no friends and he's not on the internet. I mean, it leaves a very small amount of people. There's not a whole lot of persons of interest in this case because the kid wasn't around anyone. Again, they backed themselves into this corner. Let's keep going because there's still more.
All right, Greg, what do you got?
No, I'm not going to listen to them. I don't want to listen to them right at the moment. I want to get to the other part of it's there.
As a parent, what you two are going through. How would you describe the situation right now? How are you coping?
We're on a constant roller coaster ride of.
Okay, well, we already heard that. So they must be analyzing another aspect of that situation. Let's go back, see if they moved on.
Through that Sunday night that he went missing. So walk us through, we've got so many people who really want to know, okay, how did this happen?
So now we're on Sunday night. Okay, so this is officially what they said related to that Sunday night that we have a clip of from the behavior panel.
So kind of just walk us through that night.
We were out and about that day. We were having a really good weekend.
So they had a great weekend. They were out and about that day. I don't know who they imply by they. Was it mom, stepdad, and son? Or was it just mom and son?
We got home. Everything was pretty normal. He was playing in his room. When I told him to go to bed, he did. He said, "Good night, Mom. I love you." Say goodnight to his puppies. A little bit later, I wound up going to bed, and when I woke him up for school, he wasn't there.
So Sunday night, she said made no mention of that morning so far. No mention now that it might be coming up, but so far, no mention of him being up Sunday morning, happy and giggling. So far, when referred to Sunday at this aspect of the interview, that did not get introduced. Hopefully it's on here before, hopefully I can't remember if I saw it on this one or not.
So in your mind, that's usually around what time? When do you normally wake up? Around 6 o'clock?
6.
So were you instantly thinking something's wrong, or were you like, he may just be already in the shower?
I took a second and walked through the house looking for him in case he'd gotten up and was trying to get breakfast or something, because he did that sometimes.
See and the little smirks and chuckles. It just seems, I don't know. It just seems all odd for me.
3 minutes in, give or take, I was on the phone with my husband. I said, "I can't find him." He said, "What do you mean you can't find him?" I said, "He's not in the house."
And so at that point, is that when you call 911, or what's going through your mind?
While we were on the phone, and
I found that odd too, how he took over that aspect of the question. She was speaking, and as soon as she started inquiring about the 911 call, he stepped in and took over the conversation.
And so at that point, is that when you call 911, or what's going through your mind?
While we were on the phone, and I was like, is he on the other side of the bed? The normal places he may be in the house,
He didn't answer the question right away. He wanted to explain the question before he answered it. I have a problem with that. Why did he interject and have to explain what happened before, whether they called 911 or not? I don't know. I find problems with this.
And he wasn't. So I was like, okay, well, hold on a minute. And immediately after that, we called the sheriff's department. And
We immediately after that, we called the sheriff's department. Again, did not answer the damn. Who called 911? And how can you call 911 when everybody's on the phones together?
made the report.
I ran all over the house, outside, inside. I looked in every closet.
Within minutes, they were here. They responded within minutes, and here we go.
So you said you were on the phone with her. So
Yes,
you were not home.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
I was at work. I'm a tower crane operator, and I was working in Memphis at the St. Jude project. So it's, you know, I have an earpiece in that talks to my phone. I have another earpiece.
But I'm surprised none of these people have, you know, this woman's here. She has an interview. Why she wouldn't just ask, when did you leave for work? I mean, something like that could have been so important in this, because who was home with this child at the time this child disappeared? And who was at the house within the few days surrounding before this child disappeared? Nobody is talking about that. Nobody's even asking those questions. Nobody. Who were they around? Who did they see when they were out and about, you know, that Sunday? Was anything odd that day? Did you feel like anybody was following you that day? I mean, nothing.
Piece in that does the radios. So when she was talking to me, it was like, what? I was confused. We talked about where he could possibly be, and then we went from there and led to calling the cops, and here we are now.
Within minutes, they're there at the home.
Yes, ma'am.
It was rapid fire. They had cars. They had cars from here down to the
main
road, as far as I could tell.
So what's going through both of your minds? I mean, are we panicking? Is it this, oh, I think he's probably at a neighbor's house, or what are you thinking?
My son doesn't run. He's not a runner. He's never run away before.
See, and here's another tidbit of information. They have to be honest about certain facts, and probably why they're being painted into this corner. Because he has an active father in his life that knows his behaviors. So if they were to try to say that, say he, you know, ran off before, the father would be like, he's never ran off before in his life. They're lying. So there's certain things that they have to be honest about, because there's somebody else that has all this information. His dad. His dad that's active in his life and knows what his history is, knows how many times he's been a handful for his mom, because I'm pretty sure that they call and inform each other about his schooling and his activities and when he's going to be involved in this and when he's going to be involved in that. It sounds like he's got a dad that loves him. So we have to remember, they have to be honest about certain things.
I don't know why. I don't know why he walked out that door.
And again, another follow-up question that they forgot to ask is, why do you feel he walked out the door? Was the door unlocked? What leads you to believe that? Was there something outside that he dropped? What made you think he went outside the house? And she might have said because he's not inside the house. But that would be a reason. But they didn't even ask.
I mean, he's a good kid. He's not a mischievous child by any means. But there's answers to questions that have no answers, you know, or questions with no answers right now that we are searching for desperately, and we just don't have that.
Oh, and the behavior panel, this is what I like about this, is they said, oh, well, if they really, didn't want people looking, they wouldn't be searching for answers. Are you kidding me? If I was in the hot seat with them, you don't think I would be saying, hey, I don't know what happened, but we need to find out. I didn't do it, but we need to find out who did. You don't, like, I was literally floored when they said, well, the reason why I believe this family is because, they're inviting the investigation.
And I'm like, yeah, great liars, manipulators, people that are conniving and cunning, they would be inviting the investigation too.
Chase, what do you got?
I only want the stuff that we can't see on the interview that was released. Let's see what this one says.
Led to calling the cops, and here we are now.
Within minutes.
Okay, so they're probably reanalyzing another aspect of that. I want to hear what she says when she says he was fine that morning.
Or something outside that could have enticed him to go outside. Was there anything that came to mind?
We've been combing over that day and even the weeks before he left, and I don't.
So she's talking about a specific time. Okay, so here we go. I think this is the area that we were wanting to focus on. So she specifically asked her what would make Sebastian walk out of the door that day. So that was the day he was reported missing, because he disappeared between 12 a.m. and 6 a.m. That day. That's the day they're talking about, the day he disappeared. Why did he walk out of the door that day? Let's listen to what her response is. If it gets all the way to the end, I'm praying to God they let it go all the way to the end. I can't remember if they do or not.
Or something outside that could have enticed him to go outside. Was there anything that came to mind?
We've been combing over that day and even the weeks before he left, and I hadn't been able to figure it out. He's that morning he was laughing, he was joking. Everyone.
He's speaking about the day he went missing and what would make him walk out the door. And she specifically says that morning he was up. I don't know why he would do that. That morning he was up. He was laughing. I don't think she's talking about the Sunday, guys. We just heard it. It was not cut here. It was not cut here. I want to hear this again. I want everybody to hear this again, because this is the spot. This is the spot that I've been wanting to get to right here.
Or something outside that could have enticed him to go outside. Was there anything that came to
They're talking about what would entice him, because remember, Mom just said she doesn't know what made him walk out that door that day. Now this interviewer, this news reporter is asking her, is there any outside influence that would make him walk out the door that day? And the day that they're talking about is the day he disappeared. They're saying he disappeared between midnight and 6 a.m. on February 26th. So they're talking about February 26th. Can't believe the behavior panel didn't catch that. Well, again, I'm at odds with what the behavior panel has done over the last two cases. So, they are human. I would like to see a little more, like they're all on the same page. And I can't believe that every single case that they are all on the same page. It's unbelievable. There is no 100% of the time. There just isn't. Not in stuff like this when you're talking about personal opinions based on your personal. Not everybody's going to be 100% of the time. And it seems like they kind of are their own little echo chamber, and they keep their narrative exactly what they discussed. They work together and they probably figure out what their beliefs and how this all bodes well. They're a round table discussion group, bringing a bunch of experiences together. So, but they are human. And like I said, some of the things that they clearly said, this is what they believe is making them believe that these people are being honest, is exactly the reason why I do not believe these parents. So, I don't know what to say, but we just heard it. Let's go back and listen to it again so everybody can hear what she says. She told us on one moment that this child, she went in there to wake him up and he was missing. And in the same sense, she's saying that he was awake and laughing that morning. Was she up at midnight?
And how does she not know when he disappeared if he was up that morning laughing and giggling? And if he was up laughing and giggling, guys, she would have been the only one home with him. She would have been the only one with him at that time. The only one. Let me get back.
I haven't been able to figure it out.
Oh, look at that.
He's
think back.
One of those tape replays.
Is there anything that happened that day that you think back and that there might have been a reason he was possibly upset or something outside that could have enticed him to go outside? Was there anything that came to mind?
We've been combing over that day and even the weeks before he left, and I hadn't been able to figure it out. He's that morning he was laughing, he was joking. Everyone we were around that day agreed that he seemed like he was in a good mood. He was behaving.
So maybe they were talking about the day before, because that does imply they were talking about the day before. We needed to go a little bit further. So it very well may have been Sunday that they were referring to. So let's take a deep breath, because it does sound like they did play this all the way through and they were around other people that Sunday. So maybe maybe Phoenix Rising is correct. Not that you wouldn't be correct, Phoenix. Don't hate me. Don't hate me. We have to look into these things. We can't just assume. We have to hear.
Make more sense if we'd been fighting.
Like even
or you'd been in
the whole thing, it makes more sense if we can be fighting. I didn't like how she said it like that. That to me seemed fake. To me, it seemed fake. And it's not because I want this mom to be in trouble or anything like that. I don't want to believe that about this mother, but I don't understand, the behavior for the behavior. I don't understand. I just disagree. I disagree with the analysis of this. There's too much here. There's too much here. I'm sorry. I just do. Let's listen to that again. We'll go back so we can be fair.
And everyone we were around that day agreed that he seemed like he was in a good mood. He was behaving.
He was behaving.
See,
that's the problem I'm having. He was behaving. He was behaving. They keep saying, he was in a good mood that day. He was behaving that day. Is this a point where a mom snapped on her kid? If she was being home alone with a 15-year-old child that would have violent outbursts, could it have been too much for her to handle? Could she have just lost it? And yeah, that's another thing. One of my questions that I asked when I was reviewing this case again, could he have disappeared before the night in question, or before the day in question, the morning in question? Something's not adding up, and I don't know what it is, but we have to believe the searchers when they say that they can't find nothing. We have to be we have to look at the fact that law enforcement says there's no video of him in his community moving about, whether with somebody or without somebody. So we have to listen to that. So what law enforcement, now this man's telling us that they're all cleared, that they have no wrongdoing in this. They've been cooperative. They're cleared by law enforcement. That's what this man's saying. But is that really what law enforcement is saying? Because law enforcement is putting information out, they have to put the factual information out. And the factual information that they're putting out is leading us to believe that this child did not walk outside of that home, did not leave that home. So in order for that child to have been removed from that home, that child would have had to have been loaded up in a vehicle and driven away. That's the only other way. Because that's the only other way he would have been able to leave that area undetected without being seen on any cameras. If he left at night, there would be some type of movement on somebody's camera around that community, whether grainy or not. You would clearly see somebody walking with a flashlight. and no shoes. Their garage. Exactly. So that means somebody would have had to come in their home and take the son out of the home, put his son in a vehicle, and drive off with that son. So if this boy had no friends or limited amount of friends, did not engage in online activity, was usually only around family and close family friends, who would have went in their house to grab this boy out, to take him out of that property and off that property? There was only one person inside that home that was not there. Could it have been that person? Or could it have been the person at the house having to deal with an unruly 15-year-old autistic child? Because pretty soon it's going to be mom versus stepdad. Watch. But if that videotape that's leaked is corroborated, there are 2 flashlights outside that home, not one. And there just happens to be 2 parents inside that home, not one. So while I may not know a lot about a lot, no matter how you flip the coin, to me, one of the 2 people on your screen right here, or both, could be responsible for this young boy's disappearance. Because the story they're saying does not bode. He either knew other people or he didn't. A kid that's sheltered and stays only around family and is not comfortable around other people does not walk away with a stranger or get in a car with a stranger. Something happened to this boy. He had no shoes on. He wasn't ripped out of his bed. Bio dad saying he would never leave that house, instinctually would get socks and shoes on, and reference a very specific reason as to why his son would never walk out of the house. So if his son willingly walked out of his house, his son would have instinctually, willingly put on his socks and shoes. And I think that's really all we needed to go over on that. We're going to continue this case with Sebastian Rogers. We've got a lot of other cases that need some love and attention, predominantly Layla Santinello and Holland Snap. They're out of Tennessee, where Sebastian, not where Sebastian is, but in the same state Sebastian's case has come from. So I'm going to give just a few moments to Layla Santinello.
Her family has been struggling so much to find answers, and they have been met with lies after lies after lies from a lot of people that proclaim to be this young lady's friends. So this is Layla Santinello. She has been missing since June 27th, 2023, and she disappeared from Kingsport, Tennessee. Chronicles of Olivia and I went out to Kingsport, Tennessee on several different trips, searching for Layla Santinello or any information leading to her whereabouts. These are my thoughts on this case. Well, I have to be honest with you. I was hoping by now we would have found Layla. So this has been very hard. You know, we want to bring her home. We want to make sure that her family knows what happened to her, I think is really the most important. Her family has been struggling so much to find answers, and they have been met with lies after lies after lies from a lot of people that proclaim to be this young lady's friends. Just like to speak to them just for a moment and just say, if you know something, say something, because her life does matter. For the family members of these people that know what happened to her, it could have been your daughter. It could have been your granddaughter. You need to ask them to stand up and speak up.
Layla's boyfriend, Michael Thompson, is behind bars right now for trying to extort her mother during her disappearance, saying he was going to send her home in pieces if she didn't get this money and all other kinds of stuff, right on the heels of her never being seen again. So does he have any involvement in her disappearance? There was only a select few people that she was around in and around at the time that she disappeared. So the possibility is there. Does Michael Thompson know more about her case? Yes. Do other people know more about her case? The answer is yes. Have we heard those people's name on this show before? Yes, we have. So with that being said, that's where we are. We need to start looking back into Layla Santinella. Just because her boyfriend is behind bars, she still hasn't been found, and nobody has been charged with her disappearance or any information related to her disappearance. So we still have a lot of work to go on that. We still need to be doing some fundraising efforts to help maintain the PI in the case, the mom's PI, a legit PI from Tennessee, where the child disappeared from. So with that being said, guys, I want you to have an amazing day. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe. And more importantly, please be kind to thy neighbor. God bless.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.